Beautiful. Okay. So thank you all. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 17th. It is 5:16 p.m. and I'm calling to order the meeting of the City of Philomath Downtown Streetscapes Project Public Art Ad Hoc Committee. We'll start with a roll call. I'm Christopher McMorrin, and then Ruth Causey.
Here.
There she is. Sally Duell.
Here.
Wonderful. Jen Edwards.
Present.
Shar Fagerston is absent. Nancy Froelich.
Here.
Perfect. Janelle LaJoy is absent, and she sent us an email ahead of time. I think she's picking up pizza ingredients on the coast, which sounds exciting. I can't wait to see what kind of pizza that's going to be. And then Peggy Yoder.
Here.
Perfect. And then we're joined, as always, by Chelsea Starner from the city. So thank you all for, yeah,
Can
sorry.
I just note that Shar did just write in and say that she's not going to make it after all.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. Thank you. And I don't think and please correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have any action items tonight, or is it mostly just informational, Chelsea?
Yes, everything that we have except for maybe setting a meeting date.
Yeah. Okay.
Primarily just informational.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll try to keep this brief. But thank you all for your flexibility in the numerous changes with tonight's venue. Went from being later this evening at City Hall to earlier this evening at City Hall to earlier this evening at the police station, and now to Zoom. So there's just a lot of scheduling factors, as well as now the renovations to the city council chambers, and everyone's just very busy. So thank you for making the time and for being flexible. And then on our agenda for tonight, first thing, we need to adopt the minutes of our last meeting, and it's hard to believe that we have not met since May. I've missed you all very much, of course. But we need to approve the minutes from the April 27th and the May 26th meetings, which should be included. Yeah, both of them are in our packet there. So Ruth?
I move that the minutes be accepted as presented.
Wonderful. Is there a second on that?
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any opposition to accepting the minutes as presented? Okay, seeing none, then those minutes are approved and we can move on to our business. And I'll sort of hand this off to Chelsea to run this portion of the meeting. We're going to start off with an update on our downtown streetscape project, which of course is the reason we're all here.
Okay, so some of you know because you're on the council and have had updates, but the awarding of the project to contractor has had a few delays, but we're on track now. They may have even issued the formal award. I haven't looked in the last couple of days, but the project is moving ahead. I'm hoping that it's still going to be on the timeline of late September to begin. The inlays have been ordered. There is a little bit of a back and forth going on right now with the manufacturer and our design artists. But I think that's going to get resolved. This is a file size issue. I think it's just a miscommunication. But everything was going well with that. We've paid the down, like you have to pay half down. So we've done all that. It's all been received. There were a few little hiccups with some people being on vacation and getting approvals. So we have those ordered. It's possible that they'll get here a little bit later than the project start. I think it's likely a couple weeks after the project starts. So we'll just be asking, I've let our engineers know, and they'll be asking just to make a note of that when they do their pre-con meeting. So that is exciting. after all of your hard work, they are actually being manufactured and are coming to fruition. So that's an update on that part of the project. I know it's exciting. Lots of hard work there.
Ruth?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you could refresh my memory. So all 5 of the inlays are being produced, and we chose 2 that would have 3 and the rest would have 2, or can you just remind me how many are being produced?
Yes, I can. Let me see what's the easiest way to get that answer. We had the 2 highest rated, I believe, were the conifer forest and the second one. You almost all
Meadows, I believe.
I'm trying to see if I can remember what we did here. Conifer forest and the meadows. So those 2 designs will have 3 inlays. The others will have 2. We are doing all 5 designs. It was a couple $1,000s extra to make. They have to make the mold for that. But after all of your work, and they were all such great designs, it just seemed like Ruth made the case at the last meeting that it would be too bad to just see one of them not happen, or maybe get put in a place if we have a place to put it at some point. So we will get to see all of them in person downtown on the sidewalks.
So are all of them that are produced, are they actually going in the ground, or are some being held back for later use?
They're all going in the ground at this time, but they can, I don't know what their process is for how long they retain, whatever they need to pour these, but we can have a conversation with them. I have a feeling that they have a pretty clear process for that because they do a lot of work for public agencies, which I assume this comes up regularly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Any other questions? And I guess I should have just clarified. I think a lot of tonight, the hope is to just kind of bring everyone up to speed on how things have been since May, and as well as then kind of get the ball rolling on what we need to talk about. But we mostly just wanted to kind of keep everyone engaged. So any other questions about the progress on the inlays and the streetscapes? All right, well, perfect. Thank you, Chelsea. Next up, we have bus stop design for our downtown locations, and that will also be Chelsea, of course.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to screen share for a moment and see if I can show you the agenda, just to make sure. I know I sent out an update pretty late. Sorry about that. It's been a week. And let's see. Let's get above that. Can you all see the photos on the screen? Okay. So I wrote a little bit about the background on this. It's not Streetscape project specific. However, the intent for applying for these funds was that there could be some updates done to our bus stop areas as part of the Streetscape project. And so I'm just introducing that idea to you because there are some design elements to the bus stops that can happen that we'd like to see happen. And so this is an update for you mostly, but if you have input or ideas, I would love to hear those as well. At this point, we're not quite ready to order anything. And in addition to this, I didn't put this, but we may be looking at some additional bus stop amenities. The Corvallis folks that run the bus routes are collecting some input from their drivers on additional locations that they would recommend seeing a bus stop. We can't have one of these shelters at every location because they just don't fit. There's not room for them. But there are some places that might be able to have, I don't know if you've seen these, they may have some in Corvallis, but it's basically like a seat that just gives you a place to sit. Sure, if it's raining, you might not want to sit there, but it might be better, like for the times of the year when it is dry, it might give someone somewhere to sit or set something down. So we're looking at that as an option too for some of the funding. And so, and if anyone has any questions, just yeah, raise your hand at any time and see if I can answer them. So I put the existing photos of the existing shelters. Initially, when we were thinking, we thought that these two shelters were identical. They're mostly identical. One has a clear roof, one has a metal roof. But we're looking to see if there's a way that we could repurpose these. The thought is to add some wood elements, maybe toward the bottom, not so that it obscures, seeing through them or around them, but potentially some wood elements near the bottom. I think, Peggy, do you have a question?
I do have a question. So you said repurpose them. That means the ones that are already set in the ground, like in front of the elementary school, it's not going to be affected by the Streetscapes program, but it's already there. Are you talking about removing them and replacing them?
So the one that's by the school, I don't believe is there anymore. I could be wrong. I know they've removed several that were by the schools for security issues. As far as I know, but I could be wrong because I just did a drive of the route with the map that Corvallis provided. But these are the only two that are existing. And so there's some, yes, we would like to look at repurposing them. They would have to likely be removed and probably powder coated. They're not in great condition. The one by the library, the plexiglass is not in great condition. So they would have to have some elements replaced or just refreshed on them. Or that's a thought on how to spend some of this money is to refresh those so that they look nicer. But there's a possibility that doing all of that might cost more than just ordering a new one that would tie in with the other new ones that we would put in town. Does that answer your question at all, Peggy?
Yeah, I just don't see how it would be cost effective to remove ones that don't have to be removed. And then I understand why the ones that are involved in the streetscapes need to match. I guess I don't fully understand why, if they're not within the streetscapes, they would necessarily have to match, but.
Right, but I don't think that there are any other bus stops, just these two that are within the streetscape project area.
So, and you think the one by the elementary school is gone?
My understanding was that there was one near the high school and that I know that it's been removed.
Okay, it's gone, but there's also one by the district office. At least there used to be. I mean, there was recently.
Okay, and again, we can look at that one, but it might be, something that could also benefit from some maintenance. Like the one by the library, I just looked at it and it is hurting. It needs some, it needs some more coverage with paint and protectant. And like I said, the plexiglass is in bad shape. So yes, we're going to look at trying to see if we can possibly repurpose what is there, even the ones that are downtown, if we could tie them all in with other newer ones. But at this time, we're not sure how that would all work because we haven't talked to anyone about the feasibility of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. And then Nancy.
I just wanted to comment on the design of these and then the thoughts of like how to integrate it into what has already been put into motion for the Streetscape project. And if it is cost effective, replace the plexi, repaint the metal parts like a matte black so it matches other design elements that will be happening. I think they could look really great. I mean, maybe there's an opportunity to change the bench and for the bench to be made out of wood, because that would tie it in with everything else. I mean, I love the idea of wood, don't get me wrong, but Oregon weather tends to disintegrate wood. So if the bench is like under an overhang, it has a better chance of surviving the long term.
Right. And our idea is, it was very hard to find examples for you. But we did see one somewhere and then couldn't locate it again, but they had actually put the wood trim like on the inside of the plexiglass. So
Oh, okay.
it was
Nice.
protected from the elements.
Perfect.
And also, as far as benches go, they do have the recycled plastic wood look that they use for park benches and such. So that could be an option too, that gives the general look, but would be more durable, would not enable people to just carve things into it, things like that.
Exactly. And even the one in front of the library that has a metal roof, the inside of the roof could be wood. So when you're sitting there and you look up, it's, wood that's protected from direct rain.
Right. Yeah. So definitely, looking at those general ideas on how to
I think that they could
it.
look great. They just need a little maintenance.
They need a little love.
Yeah. And then like looking forward, I guess my concern always with putting something new into the landscape is there going to be a budget to maintain it? Like who's going to clean the plexi 3 years down the road? It's not going to stay clean, even if it's brand new.
Right.
All that stuff. So, but anyway, that's all.
Okay. Let's see. So then I'm just going to move down. Can you all see these two pictures now? Okay. Just making sure because I'm on my laptop and sometimes it doesn't come across well. So we looked at several potential ideas for a new direction. The one that's silver would not look exactly like this. It's just the style. It's called like a shed style bus stop. Some of the benefits to it are that it has one gutter along the back instead of 2 gutters that you have to maintain and clean out. It potentially could look, if you had that back and you had some wood trim, it could kind of maybe go with the Timber Town theme a little more. It looks kind of like a woodshed. And then the one on the right is similar to the style of the 2 above, and that just kind of to give a look of, instead of wrought iron, but if you had some sort of wood look. I think this is the one that actually, those are on the inside of the plexiglass, the upright wrought iron. And so that's potentially a look as well, something like that. Any other questions about these or comments?
I like the one on the left. If I don't know what kind of, if it was embellished a little bit with some wood trim, but it looks like the top affords some light instead of it being quite so dark as the one on the right-hand side. Looks like it's, the roof is pretty dark. I don't know what substance that roof is used and how well it would weather, but it does look like it gives out some light, and I like that. And I don't care for the wrought iron look on the right. But
yeah, I don't. That's a little too. I mean, it doesn't go with the style of the downtown.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
But it does have a wood bench look, and kind of gives some ideas. Not that one exactly. The silver one, that is a very popular company for transit shelters. So I assume whatever that's made out of is very durable. It's from, I think it's Brasco, or one of the major manufacturers of shelters.
So Chelsea, when you and I were talking last week, there were like a couple others that actually had like a little more wood elements to them. Did we think maybe that wouldn't be a good idea, or what happened with that?
Yes, so there were concerns from Public Works for maintenance, graffiti. And I think honestly, we had some of those same concerns when we were talking about the kiosk and adding additional like carving to it, and how long is that actually going to last? And what if someone, carves it up? So it was kind of those same issues. And my understanding is that our Public Works Department is responsible for maintaining the shelters. It's often the city I came from, it was kind of a whose responsibility is it? But somewhere there's a document when we started all of this that says that. So we would want to be really clear moving forward when we get this project and it's all updated to make sure that, you know, the maintenance of them is happening on a regular basis. The one on the left here is just a, you know, it's just obviously just got the black metal, but again, it could have some wood elements added to it. I just put the kiosk picture there just to kind of refresh us on the look that we were going for at the kiosk. And so, you know, that's a potential, that's a shelter that's not custom. The one on the left, you can just buy that. The thought, I think, is that we would have to buy a shelter that's maybe just a shelter like that. You go online and you order it, and then we would have someone locally help us, you know, work on the wood elements of it to add that.
Awesome. I guess any other questions or comments about the, and again, this is just to kind of, you know, get our brains working here. We'll keep talking about this in the future. There's no decisions we need to make right now or anything, but just something to get on your radar so we can think about this moving forward. Ruth?
I just wanted to comment on the last one on the left, that the one next to the kiosk. That one, I have used that type of shelter when I was taking the train in the Bay Area. They use that kind of shelter, and I didn't care for it because there's a plexiglass piece in the middle. And so you're kind of more enclosed when you're inside of it, which if the weather is really horrible, it can be a good thing. But I didn't like it. I like more of an open feel where, you know, you can't get trapped in there.
Yeah, good feedback. And that was some of the things that came up initially. So there were talks of like quite a bit of wood on the sides. And that was one of my things, is that I said, well, it seems like you could create a place that people could hide, or just kind of a safety security thing. So those are all very valuable points. Yes, I think it's for weather, but I think that particular shelter, you can get it without that. That was just the only picture they had of it black. So
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
I think it is feasible. And I think the intent is to go for the open. The two shelters that we have a like kind of a half or 3/4 side. So if there were room in the places that we put them, it might be nice to try to get that. It's basically like a double side. That's the full side. It does offer a little bit more protection from the elements. So we'll still be researching that. And like I said, I'm working with the Corvallis folks on their input. They obviously do this more than we do. So yeah, this should come back up again at some point.
I actually like the wrought iron one. I think that's quite pretty. But Peggy makes a good point about the light of the shed style.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Chelsea, something that they were talking about was actually having lighting in some of these, right? Was that something that was recommended, or?
So yeah, that has been something that's come up. I don't know about the feasibility of that. I'm not sure if that discussion happened when they applied for this. I do know that you can use these funds for lighting. And so like I said, depending on how many shelters, if we only have, and I did include the kind of the map there too. And I think I did, yeah. And potential locations, when I went out and looked, potential locations that have space to put the shelters that are on the route. They, you know, I don't know what the feasibility is of putting electrical there, what's nearby. You know, that's going to be something to look into.
Sure. Peggy?
When you're, since Chelsea brought up the route, I think if there potentially could be two of them, only 2 blocks apart. That's awful close. It seems like we might be able to spread it maybe a little bit further west than that, because there's gonna be one on Main Street and 14th and Main Street and 12th Street. If I'm reading
Yeah,
it correctly.
they are
That's pretty
close.
Close.
Yeah, we can look at the option of moving a stop, but in the locations where the stops are and just adjacent, there's no room to put a shelter. That shelter at 12th is by I think it's the Methodist Church near the museum. And there's quite a bit of space there to be able to put one. There are just some places like the stop on 7th is actually right next to someone's yard, and it's a drop off from the sidewalk. There's no room to put anything there. So yeah, there's potential. I said, oh, what about the high school? There's a whole lot of room. And then I learned that they removed that shelter for safety reasons. So there is some complexity on where there's actually room and where the route can stop. Now, that doesn't mean that they couldn't be changed. I haven't had that conversation with the bus manager, but there may be a possibility that, if there's something a block further that makes more room between them, that maybe that's a possibility to move the bus stop. I haven't looked into that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Peggy. Nancy?
This is moving backwards a bit in our conversation, but just a thought about if we wanted there to be light in the bus stops at night, if there's the option of doing solar, so you don't have to worry about wiring. I know you have to worry about theft and all that stuff, but surely this has, been done before, and might be an option, and less expensive than trying to wire it in. So that's all.
Yeah, I think that would be worth maybe asking Public Works about, because they might be like, God, no, it would be way easier to just, wire it in, and then people wouldn't break stuff. But they might be like, yeah, sure. I would kind of be inclined to defer to them on that. But that's a great idea, Nancy. We have just one more sort of agenda item. Is there anything else for the bus stops? And again, this is just to, get the juices flowing. We'll keep talking about this. Anything else before we move on? All right, then next up we have the request for proposal for the Smart Reading Mural project, which is also in the packet if you had a chance to read through it, but I'll let Chelsea do a sort of summary and kick us off.
Yeah, so I didn't put any information other than the request for proposals for artists for the mural project. The smart folks went to the library director, who's in Corvallis, but is the director of the Philomath Library as well, and said that they would really like to do a mural on the library. The location, I believe, would be the Marys River Park entrance side. The other side of the library near the police department, they're actually looking at expanding the library out that way, so that would not be a good place for a mural right now. And so they are looking for potential donations. I think the cost of it is $5,000. Someone asked me at the beginning of the meeting if they have to have that funding secured, or if they have some funding. I got the feeling that they do have funding, however, that they really tried to raise all of the money if they can. So they're looking for ideas for potential donations for the mural. So if anyone, even after this meeting, thinks of something, hey, this might be somewhere to get money for this mural, just let me know. They are in charge of the request for proposals, or this process, but they are asking us to try to reach out to local artists, because they would really love for a local artist to be able to work on this project. And they will gather input from the city. I don't know that we'll be sitting on the formal selection or not. I don't have all of the information yet, but I was happy to see them get this posted to their website. And so I'm just looking from you all at this point for ideas for if you know anyone who might be interested in donating to get this mural on the library building, and if you have ideas for sharing this with folks who potentially could apply or send in their proposal for to do the mural.
Nancy?
There was mentioned, and maybe it was before the meeting, there's like a mural walk list for Corvallis for folks to wander around and see what's happening in Corvallis. Is it possible to get a list of those artists' names and just directly send it to them? Because the thing with murals, you kind of want to hire somebody that's done it before, because it can't just be someone who identifies as an artist, because
Yes.
painting at that scale
Mhm.
is an art form in and of itself. So, and I don't know, I am not part of any mural community, but maybe there exists local Facebook groups, or I don't know, on Instagram, there's ways to find local muralists. So I don't know, I guess why reinvent the wheel if the names are all in one isolated place where you can post it? That's my only thought about that.
Right, and I just want to say that, yes, I intend to share this on our Facebook, but like our other art related posts, there, it has to be that there's someone following the city of Philomath that says, I'm an artist and I want to do that. So it's great, but it's a little limited in who we're reaching, I think, that, so any ideas like that to target people are really great. And I can also look and see if the smart folks or the library are sharing this as well. And ask them if they can share it and maybe tag Philomath, Oregon, or the city of Philomath. That might help too.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Nancy. Jen?
Yeah, I actually just Googled really quickly, and there is a CorvallisMurals.com website with the map and all the artists for every mural in Corvallis.
Beautiful.
I'll
Nice.
send it in the group thing.
Amazing. Okay. Peggy?
I would just like to still have us, if somebody is willing to work with young artists, I think there's a lot of ownership if we could get some from high school artists. We've got some pretty talented kids out there that would be really take ownership, but I agree that is on such a scale, it's not just you're going to draw something on paper and blow it up, so they would need some professional help. But it would be nice if we could at least see if some kids are interested, if we could go through the channels with the school. Just my input.
I mean, I'm all for involving the schools.
As well, you should be, Christopher. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think we need to have a professional, experienced person leading this up, but if they can, work with art students or something, I think that would be fantastic. I guess anything else on this? And I guess, Chelsea, is there anything more you need from us on this? Like any more advice or?
No, I just
Okay.
wanted to say, well, the reason why I brought it here is because it is, sort of in the downtown area, even though it's not part of the project. And because you are an art related committee and we already have you together, and we don't have just an art committee for the city at this time. So it just seemed natural that if there is a decision-making process, if we're getting, an input in that it would come to you to review. Yeah, I might get overruled on that, but this time that's what I would think would be a great idea, is if we could do that. And just really quickly, I'm going to try to share, just so you can see the city of Springfield had, can you see that?
Wow, that's colorful.
I love that.
So this is a mural that they did in Springfield. So it was a smart mural that was designed for Springfield. So just as an idea,
That's beautiful.
happen. Okay, that's all I have on that at this time.
Okay, amazing. Any other final thoughts or questions before we talk about next meeting? And again, thank you all for making it out tonight. We just wanted to kind of keep everyone posted and make sure everyone was still, around and alive since it's been so long since we've met. So I don't think there's an urgent need to meet again, Chelsea. I guess as far as the city's concerned, how far out should we be looking? And then we can find availability.
Yes, so I think Christopher and I talked a little bit about the next step or thing to look at besides these two, the bus stop and the mural, and if that's kind of coming to fruition and needs some answers, is the art pieces for the plinths. I mean, the project hasn't even started and it's a 2-year project, but just recently I was talking to an artist about doing a project and it was a year lead time to make a sculpture. And so we don't want to lose our momentum as a group, but we don't have a whole lot to work on right now. But I could see us meeting in several months. Maybe we would move it to quarterly so that we're still meeting and talking about things. And then I do think that after the first of the year, that process, deciding what we want to do, how we want to get art for the plinths might be a good conversation to be having, so that we can, all these processes take a long time, as you've seen with the inlays. So it would be a good idea for us to kind of get going on that and deciding what kind of a process we want to go through, what we'd like to potentially see. And so just if anyone has any input, hopefully you're all still good with staying on the committee for now, but please let us know if for some reason you're not. And so a next meeting, I don't know what you were thinking, Christopher, for potential check-in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could wait until end of October, beginning of November or something, unless, I think it's a good idea to maybe just kind of plan on quarterly, and then if things come up, we can kind of have, ad hoc meetings. But as Chelsea said, we want to make sure we're staying involved and engaged, but there is sort of this whole thing of we got through the big push before the ODOT contract went out. Now the ODOT contract went out, and now we just kind of have to wait until there are new streets and sidewalks to put art on. So there's going to be a little bit of a lull, but that's not to say we can't do some prep work and start, thinking about what kind of art we want on those plinths, how we want to reach out to artists. Is that going to be like a rotating thing? Are those going to be permanent installations? Are those going to be, commissioned pieces? Are those going to be things that are for sale, or what, just, it's good to start those conversations, but those actual art pieces won't go on the street until at least, fall or winter of 2025. So it's going to be a little bit. But I guess, does that sound good to folks if we shoot for maybe end of October, beginning of November, for just sort of another check-in and to talk maybe more about these bus stop and mural items, and then sort of start talking about plinths and stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So I guess if we want to do we want to try to set a date now then? I can pull up a calendar. Or do we want to, I can email people afterwards if that would be easier.
Yeah, maybe we should email. I don't know that we have all of our meetings that far out
Sure.
on the city
Okay.
calendar.
Okay.
But I know Wednesdays were working pretty well for us. It seemed like we had until we got really where we were meeting a lot, we had kind of a second Wednesday or something that seemed like it wasn't conflicting with other city meetings. So
Yeah.
Christopher, if you want to kind of touch bases with me about that, and we'll try this out, see what works for people.
Okay. Yeah. Does that work for everyone? If I'll talk to Chelsea, either maybe probably, I'm gonna be honest, I probably won't get to it till next week. And then I'll send you all an email, and we can schedule it. Okay, perfect. Well, then with that, that's the end of our agenda. Oh yeah, Sally.
I'm excited about this starting. Is there what's going to be the very first thing they do? Do you know, are they going to pave the streets first? Are they going to start tearing up the old sidewalks? Or, is there a schedule?
Yeah, not yet. So they'll have to have their first, their pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and the contractor will in that meeting and those processes, they'll determine what that schedule looks like. Okay. And then just since you're a business owner, and if anyone else is or knows anyone, we are working on getting our kind of public outreach campaign. I'm going to be heading that up. along with all my other things. And so we'll have like an email group for updates and try to be letting businesses know ahead of time as much as we can. Sometimes it's difficult. ODOT is an animal, and getting the information to us is sometimes difficult, but we have really pushed hard for that in this process, that we want to be kept in the loop, so that we can help business owners and people who are living in the area too. So I don't know at this time, but that news should be coming out soon. Like I said, as soon as they do the notice to proceed and they start getting their meetings with their contractor, they'll be getting us a construction schedule and we'll post it online.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. Anything else? Any other final thoughts? Okay, then that's the end of our agenda. So I will adjourn our meeting at 5:56 p.m. and follow up with you all next week to schedule our next meeting date. So thank you all for your time tonight.